ಹೈನಿನ್ ಸತ್ತ ಮಿಫದ ಬಲಿತಕ ಕಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗಂಡು ಗೊತ್ತಿಗ್ಗ ತಿಮಾಗೆ ಜಾತಿ ದಿರಿಯುಳ್ಮುಗೆ ಆದಕಾದತಕ ವಶಾಗೆ ಮಾ ಹೌಲಾ ಸೀದಾ ಗುಳುಂ ಹುರಿ ಬಲಿತ ಮಿಗುತುಂ ಕೇಂ ಬೊಯ್ಮುಗೆ ನುರಂಗಳು ಆದತಕ ಹೆಲಿಫೆಲಿವೆಗಳು ಮದುಮಾ ದುಂಫತ್ ಕೆ ಇಸ್ತಿಮಾಲ್ ಕುರುಂ ಅದಿ ರಾಬುಯಿಂ ಫದ ಆದಕಾದತಂ ಹಿಮೆನೆ
Making headlines this hour. The President ratifies a landmark amendment to the Tobacco Control Act implementing a decisive generational ban. The President describes the recently ratified legislative amendment as an overarching solution to the fight against tobacco use. And the Vice President emphasizes the Maldives' dedication to sustainable ocean stewardship and advocates for immediate reforms.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naim. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz ratifies a landmark amendment to the Tobacco Control Act implementing a decisive generational ban on tobacco and e-cigarette use. Positioned as a major public health intervention, the measure reinforces the Maldives' standing at the forefront of tobacco control in Southeast Asia.
The new law prohibits individuals born on or after the 1st of January 2007 from using tobacco and forbids the sale of such products to this cohort. Public sentiment played a crucial role in shaping the policy, with a social media poll by the President helping to gauge national support. Approved by Parliament on the 13th of May, the amendment will take effect on the 1st of November. Stronger enforcement mechanisms accompany the ban, granting the Maldives Police Service or MPS and Maldives Customs Service broader authority to seize vapes, e-cigarettes and related products while targeting illicit distribution channels. Possession and use of electronic smoking devices will also be expressly prohibited. Strict regulations will also govern tobacco sales, limiting distribution to licensed and registered establishments. Online platforms and vending machines where buyer verification is difficult are explicitly barred. Additionally, importing machinery intended for tobacco product manufacturing will also be prohibited. Public oversight is another key aspect of the law, where a system will be established to ensure the transparent disposal of confiscated tobacco products, vaping devices, and related equipment, reinforcing accountability. The bill, introduced by Kimbidu MP Ali Ashraq on behalf of the government, underwent review by a 7-member parliamentary committee before final approval. Parliament passed the measure during its 30th session of the first term of 2025. Tobacco control has remained a priority for President Muiz since taking office. His administration's initiatives have drawn praise from the World Health Organization or WHO, which described the generational ban as a pioneering step, the first of its kind in a Southeast Asian nation. The WHO recently recognized President Muiz's leadership by awarding him the WHO Director General's Special Award for Tobacco Control. The President formally ratified the amendment during a ceremony at the President's office. Senior government officials, including Attorney General Ahmad Usham, Minister of Youth Empowerment, Information and Arts Ibrahim Wahid, Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Ihsan, and other cabinet members were in attendance. Health sector representatives and secondary school students born after the 1st of January 2007 also participated in the event.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz describes the recently ratified legislative amendment as an overarching solution to the fight against tobacco use in the Maldives.
President Dr. Muiz ratified a landmark amendment to the Tobacco Control Act implementing a decisive generational ban on tobacco and e-cigarette use. The new law prohibits individuals born on or after the 1st of January 2007 from using tobacco and forbids the sale of such products to this cohort. Public sentiment played a crucial role in shaping the policy, with a social media poll by the President helping to gauge national support. Approved by Parliament on the 13th of May, the amendment will take effect on the 1st of November. Speaking to reporters after ratifying the landmark amendment, the president highlighted the landmark steps that have been taken by his administration to build a society free from tobacco use. He said banning the use of vape and e-cigarettes and significant tax increases on tobacco products would save future generations from the tobacco epidemic. He explained that the generational ban, which would effectively lead to the complete prohibition of tobacco use in the near future, was the next step towards freeing the country from tobacco use. The legislative amendment will now provide the necessary tools to enforcement agencies, President Muiz said, adding that these measures would help the country save over 30% of the population from tobacco use. President Dr. Muiz also reiterated his commitment to investing revenue from the recent increase on taxes on tobacco imports on smoking cessation programs in his bid for a healthier nation. The president alluded to the efforts that lie ahead of authorities to raise public awareness on the harm of tobacco use before the generational ban comes into effect on the 1st of November. He also pledged to build the capacity of relevant agencies to help them strictly enforce the ban.
Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif emphasizes the Maldives' dedication to sustainable ocean stewardship and advocated for immediate reforms in international climate finance. During his address at the Honolulu International Forum HIF, a prestigious platform organized by the Pacific Forum, the Vice President commended the Pacific Forum for its 5 decades of fostering strategic stability and policy dialogue in the Indo-Pacific, spoke of the Maldives' deep connection to the ocean. He noted the nation's vulnerability to the escalating impacts of climate change, such as coral bleaching, storm surges, and sea level rise. The Vice President further highlighted national efforts and reaffirmed the Maldives' commitment to the blue economy through sustainable fisheries, marine conservation, and ecosystem-based coastal management. However, he stressed that these efforts require adequate and sustainable climate financing. Calling for meaningful reform, the Vice President urged the international community to move beyond GDP-based assessments and adopt development frameworks that reflect the unique vulnerabilities and needs of small island developing states. He also encouraged innovative financing approaches, including concessional instruments and climate-linked debt solutions. Concluding his remarks, the Vice President highlighted the inseparable link between the blue economy and climate finance, calling for collaborative international efforts to safeguard the nation's heritage, livelihoods, and ensure a resilient future. The Honolulu International Forum, held monthly, facilitates discussions on major political, economic, and security issues in the Indo-Pacific, bringing together experts, policymakers, and practitioners. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Abdullah Khalil underscores the World Health Organization's contribution to the Maldives healthcare sector, crediting the organization with helping advance public health initiatives and strengthening the country's healthcare infrastructure. At a meeting with PADEN, the newly appointed WHO representative to the Maldives, the foreign minister received her letter of credence, marking the official start of her tenure. The discussions reinforced WHO's long-standing role in supporting national health policies, with a particular focus on improving access to medical services, strengthening disease prevention strategies, and enhancing emergency response capabilities. Minister Khalil outlined the progress made in healthcare, citing key developments in preventive measures, accessibility, and crisis response. WHO's continued partnership, he stated, that has been central to these advancements. PADEN, in her remarks, reaffirmed WHO's commitment to working alongside Maldivian authorities to further bolster the healthcare system under her leadership. The minister also expressed his appreciation for WHO's recognition of President Dr. Mohammad Muiz through the WHO Director General's Special Award for Tobacco Control. He noted the administration's recent efforts to curb tobacco use, including the First Amendment to the Tobacco Control Act and a newly introduced generational tobacco ban that prohibits sales to individuals born on or after 1st January 2007. This year marks 60 years since WHO established its country office in the Maldives in 1965, a milestone in a partnership that has shaped the nation's health sector. Over 6 decades, WHO has played an integral role in its development, contributing to the resilience and growth of Maldives' public health system. Gila Ali, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Maldives to the European Union, affirms the Maldives' commitment to deepening diplomatic engagement and strengthening relations with the European Union. She made the statement after presenting her letters of credence to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen during a formal ceremony at the Parliament building, the headquarters of the European Commission in Brussels. During a brief exchange following the ceremony, Ambassador Gila conveyed greetings and best wishes from President Dr. Mohamed Moise. She underscored the Maldives' interest in expanding diplomatic cooperation with the European Union, highlighting the government's commitment to fostering stronger ties. European Commission President von der Leyen welcomed Ambassador Gila's appointment, offering congratulations and reaffirming the positive trajectory of Maldives-EU relations. The Maldives and the European Union have maintained diplomatic relations for years, collaborating on issues such as trade, environmental sustainability, and global governance. Minister of Tourism and Environment Tariq Ibrahim stresses on the need for the country's tourism industry to keep up with the latest global trends to maintain its position as one of the top tourist destinations in the world. The minister made these remarks during the graduation ceremony of a tourism training program conducted by Patina Maldives Faroe Islands Resort. Speaking during the ceremony, Minister Tariq said this training program initiated by Patina Maldives will pave the way for educated and experienced youths in the tourism industry. The minister hailed it as an important step for the development of the tourism sector in the Maldives. He highlighted the need, especially for the youth, to innovate, keep with the ever-changing global trends and technology in order to shape the path forward. According to Minister Tariq, this is pivotal to Maldives maintaining its position as one of the top tourist destinations in the world. A dozen students graduated after completing 3 years of training conducted by Patina Maldives, which included half in room service and the other half in food and beverage service. This diploma-level training program is accredited by the EHL Hospitality Business School in Switzerland. The Minister of Sports, Fitness and Recreation, Abdullah Rafiu, meets the visiting senior executives of Liverpool FC to discuss the launch of a football academy in the Maldives. Senior executives from Liverpool Football Club arrived in Mali City this week, advancing a long-term tourism partnership designed to elevate the Maldives' global standing as a premier travel destination. The delegation includes David Paul, Vice President of Partnerships Delivery at Liverpool FC, and Alex Fraser, Director of Global Partnership Sales for the LFC and Visit Maldives initiative. During the meeting, the minister also discussed further cooperation in football in the Maldives with the assistance of the Liverpool FC. The partnership between Maldives and Liverpool FC will enable Maldivian athletes to access training opportunities to improve their performance under the guidance of Liverpool FC coaches and opportunities to train athletes in both Maldives and the United Kingdom. The partnership was formally announced on 30th March when MMPRC designated the Maldives as Liverpool FC's official tourist destination partner. Under the terms of the agreement, an extensive international marketing campaign will run for 3 years and 6 months, broadening the reach of the Maldivian tourism brand while encouraging an increased influx of visitors. The initiative officially launched on 3rd April, coinciding with President Dr. Mohamed Moise's visit to Liverpool's historic Anfield Stadium. The partnership also includes high-value activations such as the establishment of a Liverpool Academy in the Maldives, strengthening sports tourism and enhancing destination branding. Figures show British inflation surged by more than expected in April, including in areas watched closely by the Bank of England that are likely to keep the central bank on its path of gradual interest rate cuts.
The annual rate of consumer price growth leapt to 3.5% in April from 2.6% in March, the Office for National Statistics said, the highest reading since January 2024 and the largest increase in the rate since 2022 when inflation was rocketing. A Reuters poll of economists had pointed to a reading of 3.3% in April, while the Bank of England earlier this month projected inflation of 3.4%. The data are likely to further diminish expectations in financial markets that interest rates will be cut more than once by the end of 2025. April saw increases in gas, electricity, and water prices alongside higher taxes on employers, all of which are likely to push up prices.
A decision by Brazilian environmental agency IBAMA on May 19th will let a state-run oil firm Petrobras move a step closer to drilling for oil in a coveted offshore region, but it came with an important caveat for future permits in the area. Documents seen by Reuters show IBAMA head Rodrigo Agostino warned his decision against a disorderly multiplication of future requests for environmental licenses in the Foz do Amazonas basin, an oil frontier near the mouth of the Amazon River.
The area, in the northernmost part of Brazil's equatorial margin, is considered Petrobras' most promising oil frontier, sharing geology with nearby Guyana, where ExxonMobil is developing huge fields. But Agostino said it would be hard to issue fragmented and successive exploration licenses in the Foz do Amazonas basin without a complex environmental study known as a AAAS that could take years to complete. IBAMA had previously requested a AAAS to evaluate Petrobras' bid, but Brazil's Solicitor General issued a legal opinion that such a study should not hold up licensing. Agostino's renewed demand adds to uncertainty about future licensing in the region, where Brazil is preparing to offer new blocks at a June auction. For now, the agency chief granted approval to a Petrobras proposal for how it would assist local fauna in the event of an oil spill in the environmentally sensitive region, which includes vast coral reefs and coastal indigenous communities. Petrobras said it welcomed the decision on the 19th of May, taking it as a green light to run a test of its environmental emergency plan, which it called the last step before a final licensing decision. The progress for Petrobras represents a loss for IBAMA's technical staff, which had signed a document in February saying the plan to rescue fauna in case of an oil spill had only a remote possibility of being successful.
Palestinian Sabah Warsh Agha sits outside a tent by the seaside in Gaza City after fleeing Beit Lahia following Israel's military operations in the area.
According to Sabah, what made them leave was that they were under threat. She said the Israeli forces told Palestinians to leave. In Al-Talim, a neighborhood in Beit Lahia, she said the firing on them was like rain. Tents lined up the coastal area as families carried bits of belongings on the back of animal-led carts. Mustafa, another Palestinian who also found shelter in the coastal area, described the difficulty in having to flee her neighborhood. International pressure on Israel has mounted in recent days as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government launched a renewed military offensive in Gaza. Israel says it plans to intensify military operations against Hamas and to control the whole of Gaza, which has been devastated by an Israeli air and ground war since Hamas's cross-border attack on Israeli communities in October 2023. According to Gaza's health authorities, Israel's genocidal campaign has displaced nearly all Gaza's 2.3 million residents and killed more than 53,000 people.
Palestinians in Deir al-Balah searches through the rubble following an Israeli strike which killed and wounded several people, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health.
Mourners held funeral prayers at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital for people killed. International pressure on Israel has mounted in recent days as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government launched a renewed military offensive in Gaza. Israel says it plans to intensify military operations against Hamas and to control the whole of Gaza, which has been devastated by an Israeli air and ground war since Hamas's cross-border attack on Israeli communities in October 2023. According to Gaza's health authorities, Israel's genocidal campaign has displaced nearly all Gaza's 2.3 million residents and killed more than 53,000 Palestinians. Israel's stepped-up campaign has strained its relations with much of the world. European countries, including France, Germany, and Britain, have said the situation in Gaza is intolerable, and even the support of its closest ally, the United States, now appears to be wavering.
South African surfer Jordy Smith delivers a dominant performance as he posted the highest numbers of the event to defeat Frenchman Marco Mignot in the men's round of 16 action at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro.
An opening 7.83 out of a possible 10 was followed by a 9.50 for a 17.33 out of a possible 20 heat total as Smith's explosive rail work lit up the large face of main break. The win moved Smith up to world number 2 on the live rankings, with the potential for the 37-year-old South African to leave Western Australia in the yellow leader jersey. It will be the 4th straight quarterfinals appearance for Smith, who has tapped into rare form since winning his first event in 7 years at stop number 4 in El Salvador.
I feel like that's one of the best heats of my life. You know, getting barreled in a jersey is the dream, and I feel like I've kind of missed out on that a lot in my career, where like I lose and then the next day it's just all time barreling, you know, chopes or pipe, and I'm like, oh, just on the sidelines, just so bummed. And today I woke up and went, wow, I'm in this, like I get to surf in this, you know, and I was just so grateful for that opportunity. And then, yeah, that 9 just, I was kind of baffled myself, so.
The other surfer to do the star turn on his way to the quarterfinals was USA's Griffin Colapinto as he defeated local wildcard Mickey McDonough. And the dream run continued for Australia's Jacob Wilcox a day after he upset world number 1 Italo Ferreira and Hawaii's Baron Mamiya as they advanced to the last 8 stage. Italy's Leonardo Fioravanti and Australia-turned-Japanese surfer Conor O'Leary too booked their last quarterfinals berth.
Alphabet's Google says it would put artificial intelligence into the hands of more web surfers while teasing a $249.99 a month subscription for its AI power users, its latest efforts to fend off growing competition from startups like OpenAI.
Google unveiled the plans amid a flurry of demos that included new smart glasses during its annual I/O conference in Mountain View, California, which has adopted a tone of increased urgency since the rise of generative AI challenged the company's longtime stronghold of organizing and retrieving information on the internet. In recent months, Google has become more aggressive in asserting that it has caught up to its competitors after appearing flat-footed upon the release of Microsoft-backed OpenAI's ChatGPT in 2022. On May 20th, it further laid out a vision for Google Search that lets consumers ask virtually anything, from simple queries to complex research questions, from analyzing what a smartphone camera sees to fetching an event ticket to buy. Google likewise said it aims to build AI that is personal and proactive, whether phoning a store for users or sending students a practice test generated on the fly. CEO Sundar Pichai said at the conference that Alphabet would build such AI with the cost in mind as well. Pichai said Google's AI assistant Gemini app now has more than 400 million monthly active users. In a major update, the company said consumers across the United States now can switch Google Search into AI mode. Google also announced an AI Ultra plan, which for $249.99 monthly provides users with higher limits on AI and early access to experimental tools like Project Mariner, an internet browser extension that can automate keystrokes and mouse clicks, and DeepThink, a version of its top-shelf Gemini model that is more capable of reasoning through complicated tasks. The price is comparable to $200 monthly plans from AI model developers OpenAI and Anthropic, underscoring how companies are exploring ways to pay for the exorbitant price tag of AI development. Google's new plan also includes 30 terabytes of cloud storage and an ad-free YouTube subscription. Google already offers other subscription options, including a $19.99 per month service with access to some AI capabilities unavailable for most free users and cheaper plans with additional cloud storage. Last week, the company told Reuters it had signed up more than 150 million subscribers across those plans. Pichai told reporters that the rise of generative AI was not at the full expense of online search. Alphabet shares closed 1.5% lower at $165.32 on May 20th. Google made a return to a bumpy effort years ago around smart glasses, demonstrating frames with its new Android XR software. Since its early efforts, rival Meta Platforms has brought its own glasses with AI to market.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.